Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Espionage this hour, Orson Welles in the prequel to the motion picture The Third Man, The Lives of Harry Lime, because Harry Lime died in the motion picture The Third Man, so these events took place before the motion picture. This event, originally broadcast September 28, 1951, is named The Work of Art.
Presenting Orson Welles as The Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character, originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
That was the shot that killed Harry Lime. He died in a sewer beneath Vienna. As those of you know who saw the movie The Third Man, yes, that was the end of Harry Lime. But it was not the beginning. No. He had many lives. And I can tell you about all of them. How? Because my name is Harry Lime. Buenos Aires, July 1944. The Argentine papers were full of the attempted assassination of Adolf Hitler. It had failed, but all of us knew that the Nazi Party was doomed. Buenos Aires was full of those once high in the Nazi councils, and they brought with them money, jewelry, art treasure.
And now Orson Welles is Harry Lime, the third man in Work of Art.
Yes, there I was in Buenos Aires, just a clean-cut young American boy looking for a chance to hustle an honest buck. A friend had given me a letter to Senor Juan Fernandez, a gentleman with a handsome face, impeccable manners, and no morals. My informant had indicated that the senor might be helpful in guiding me along my chosen path. But when I called at his art galleries, housed in a brownstone building just off the Plaza del Congreso, he refused to see me. Well, there were always other sources of income to be found without Senor Fernandez's help, and the bar at the Casa del Oro seemed an ideal place for a young man to start a career. Bartender.
Si, senor. Dispense to the mid-tomorrow.
I beg pardon, I don't understand much Spanish.
I would make the apology for being so long. See the supply of rum behind the bar, she was finished, and I go to the stockroom to bring some more.
Okay. Skip it.
No le entiendo, senor. What is skip?
I mean, let it go. Never mind. There's no harm done. I'll have a scotch.
Gracias, senor. In Buenos Aires, we use much rum, the speciality of the house. She's a drink I make myself invented, made from 4 different kinds of rum. The juice of the pineapple, the dash of curacao, a sprinkling of the...
Fine, I'll have a scotch and soda.
Say, senor, but you would like my speciality. You're from all the world. They say it is the fine...
You make a mistake in ordering scotch and soda where rum is.
Why?
I'm your clothing, caramba. You should buy clothes in the stores of Buenos Aires as soon as possible.
Miss Emily Post, I presume?
No, my name is Fernandez, Juan Fernandez. And I do not make these suggestions for the sake of etiquette, Mr. Lime, only for business reasons.
I'm completely fascinated, Senor Fernandez. Please continue.
In our profession, we must dress as the multitude dresses. We must drink as they drink, act as they act. We must never call special attention to ourselves, but must seemingly melt into the back.
Yeah, but I melt so badly.
I'm serious. I tell you these things for your own good.
Isn't this concern for me a little sudden, old man? This morning you wouldn't even see me.
Your drinks, senor.
Oh, thank you very much.
And you, senor,
I'll have one of your specials, Rado. We'll be over the little table in the corner.
But of course, senor.
It was not judicious of you to come to my art gallery, Senor Lime. You see, the business that goes on in the front rooms is quite regular, but there is a back room where some of the transactions are a little bit less orthodox.
Oh, yeah?
My backroom friends must not be seen coming into my establishment by my front room friends. You do understand?
Well, of course. It's perfectly clear.
Lime, you come to Buenos Aires to reap some of the wealth here, huh? You are not the type to do it honestly, and that is all right with me. I will help you. But we must remain casual acquaintances who meet in bars, not business associates. You must not come to my galleries.
Okay, old man.
You are not giving me your full attention.
Well, how could I? Did you see what came through that door?
The beautiful senorita with the off-the-shoulder dress.
You don't miss anything either, do you, old man?
Not very much, I assure you, senor.
Where should you know?
If you and I come to terms, senor, she is the first assignment.
Senor Ferendez was about as communicative as a penguin. With a display of the ultimate in old-world manners, he refused to say another word about the slender, dark-eyed beauty who had suddenly set my pulse pounding. Instead, he turned the conversation to other types of beauty, those found in paintings and sculpture. He began to test my knowledge of the arts and perhaps my conversational abilities. Apparently, my proficiency at the latter made up for any deficiencies in the former, for we soon came to terms. It wasn't until a second meeting, however, that the exact particulars of my new trade were explained by the master. We'd met accidentally at a roadside refreshment stand near the suburb of Belgrano.
It is my desire that you make friends among our new residents. You can gain invitations to their homes and go through their private galleries, huh? There are many such private galleries.
Well, that sounds interesting. Might even get a job later as a tourist guide.
Your job will be to guide some friends of mine to the finest, the most expensive works of art in town. You must equip them with full descriptions of the galleries, the houses containing them, the personnel, the entrances, the exits.
Okay. Our souls have met. And now to that first assignment you spoke about, the senorita.
Yes. Little is known of Senorita Melissa Corday. She came here a few months ago. She rented an expensive villa, and she's invited only a few close friends to see her art treasures. But according to reports, she's the owner of the most valuable painting in all of Buenos Aires, an original Rubens, worth a fortune.
All that and original Rubens, too. I don't know what Juan Ferendez was worried about. What could happen to me? I wasn't going to be doing any of the stealing. My job consisted of being charming and observant. During the next few weeks, I managed to exercise my charm on half a dozen of the local gentry. I was invited to their homes, and I made polite compliments to my hosts, extravagant ones to my hostesses. You know, it's amazing how much information you can get if you say the right things about a woman's choice of dresses or a man's choice of wines. And Senor Ferendez paid me handsomely for the information, but both of us were still primarily concerned with Senorita Melissa Corday. And she proved as elusive as the olive at the bottom of a martini. However, by this time we were both members of Buenos Aires society, and an eventual meeting was inevitable. I managed to meet her often. As a matter of fact, she found me quite irresistible.
I'm very sorry, Senor Lime, but I'm busy tomorrow.
The following day, then?
No, I'm sorry. The following day I have an engagement.
The day after that, Senorita Corday. Busy, huh? Now, there were two things driving me toward Melissa Corday. My determination that I'd pierce that core of cold steel and my desire to get the Rubens. Oh, I've known women, like her before. Women with cash registers where their hearts were supposed to be, but it wasn't going to defeat me. I have a bank balance to blind the next mercenary woman I'd met, and Melissa Corday was going to be the donor. On Saturday evening, Senorita Corday was giving a large dinner party for a visiting American diplomat. After a short study of the guest list, I chose as my target an undersecretary of the English consulate, Mr. Albert Ramsey. I studied him carefully. I learned of some of his former posts and all of his weaknesses, including that of absent-mindedness. On Saturday evening, I followed him out of his hotel. I say, I'm amorphous. I wasn't looking... Bertie, Albert Ramsey in the flesh.
Oh, yes, in the flesh, as you say. But,
How have you been, old boy? I heard you were connected with the consulate over here, but I haven't had a chance to look you up. It is good seeing you
well,
again,
yes, it's
old
nice
man.
seeing you.
Imagine bumping into good old Bert Ramsey right in the middle of Buenos Aires. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Well, I hope you'll forgive me, a frightful memory, but I don't seem to remember quite where it was.
Oh, you're
last
joking,
time.
of course. You remember. It's at the Shoreham Hotel in Washington.
Oh, yes, of course. How frightfully stupid of me. Washington, eh?
Yeah, it's Washington.
Must have been about 40.
1940 it was, but exactly. And you say you have a bad memory. This is really a break bumping into you on my first free evening since I got here. You've got to have dinner with me, old man.
Well, fact of the matter is, I have a dinner engagement. Charming girl. Having a bit of a party tonight. Promised I'd go.
Well, I'm certainly not going to say goodbye after having been lucky enough to run into you. I hate these dinner parties myself, but then maybe you couldn't take me along even if you wanted to.
Oh, I dare say it'd be all right.
Well, as long as you say it'd be all right, you're sure I wouldn't be intruding?
Oh, no, of course not. No, a pretty girl like that'll be delighted to have me bring a handsome young chap around. Probably only invited an old duffer like me because she needed an extra man.
Well, if you're positive, it's all right.
Oh, I do have a confession to make, though. That rotten memory of mine, I remember our meetings in Washington plain as though they occurred yesterday, but your name slipped right out of my mind.
Can you imagine that? Well, don't apologize. It's Lime. Harry Lime.
Your hat, senor?
Oh, thanks.
Here, take my stick, too. I've got a stalwart companion with me now. I won't need a stick if I'm attacked by rogues.
That's a good one, Bird. That's a good one.
Here comes our hostess.
Good evening, Mr.
You look simply ravishing, my dear. Look, I want you to meet an old and very dear friend of mine, Mr. Harry Lime.
I've had the pleasure.
Oh, you don't say. I didn't know.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Melissa. I didn't know Mr. Ramsey was coming here. I bumped into him.
Oh, it's all my fault, my dear. Harry and I met accidentally, and I hadn't seen him for years. I simply insisted that he come along. I suppose I was so busy chatting about old times, I didn't get round to telling him who our hostess was.
I see.
I hope you'll pardon an old duffer.
Yes, of course, Mr. Ramsey.
Of course, you could call the police or have your servants throw me out.
I say he's droll, isn't he, my dear?
Very. Well, come in and have a drink. The others are a little ahead of you already.
Oh, we'll catch up, won't we, Harry?
Oh, I don't think I'll have a drink tonight. I don't want a chance dulling my senses. I understand Melissa has an art collection that's really worthwhile seeing.
You're interested in art?
Oh.
Somehow I didn't think you would be.
Oh, I'm very, very, very interested.
Perhaps I've been wrong in my estimate of you, Mr. Lime. I'll be happy to show you my gallery, if you really think you'd enjoy it.
Well, honestly, Miss Corday, nothing could fascinate me more.
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man.
September 28, 1951, Orson Welles, The Lives of Harry Lime on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Harry Allen Towers produced The Lives of Harry Lime in London with Orson Welles. Orson Welles was the only performer ever credited in these shows, so that's all we know about the shows, is that Welles played Harry Lime. It's the same with his other program, The Black Museum. No performers are credited except Welles. September 28, 1951, The Lives of Harry Lime on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
And now, Orson Welles as the third man continues with Work of Art.
Dinner was an eternity of rich food and rich people. The small talk was so small it was almost non-existent. But for one thing I could be thankful. My pal, Bertie Ramsey, forgot me in his absorption with a mustached Ecuadorian woman. He was probably fascinated by the task of counting her chins. No mean job, since she was constantly quivering with laughter. At any rate, the dinner was over in what seemed like a mere few months. And after what Mr. Ramsey probably would have called a decent interval, I persuaded Melissa Corday to take me on a cook's tour of her gallery.
Well, this is it.
Oh, it's magnificent. Why, there must be a fortune represented here.
It means little to me now. Perhaps someday it may have value for me again.
Melissa, maybe you don't realize what's wrong. You're lonely.
This first painting's quite interesting. A little-known artist, Constantine Langmuir, painted it. I suppose it has little intrinsic value, but I recognize the scene. A little cove on Riviera where I used to go when I was a child.
Oh, that's lovely. That's a Degas over there, isn't it?
Yes.
And a Rubens. That is a Rubens, isn't it?
Yes. When I first got it, I thought it was the answer to all my dreams.
And it isn't now?
It's almost worthless.
Unless you can make things worthwhile again. You can learn how to dream again.
Please, Harry. You're hurting my hand.
You're hurting my heart. Well, listen, I don't know what's holding you back, but sometimes when we've been hurt, we build up a wall around ourselves. I know because I've been hurt. I've been lonely. Maybe neither of us has to be lonely again.
No. Harry, please.
I didn't intend to kiss you by force.
I think maybe I'd better go back to my other guests. When you're ready to rejoin the others, just pull the door firmly. It's self-locking.
The gallery was in a separate wing of the house, connected to a small sitting room with only the self-locking door between. The sitting room had a large French door that led to a small balcony, and the street was only 7 or 8 feet below. On the other side of the sitting room was a boudoir, Melissa's. The servants' quarters must be miles away. It was a setup. And Harry Lime wasn't going to give this setup away for any 25% of the Rubens value. Let Fernandez take his 25%. It's going to be 75 for me. I wedged a match in the lock, and then I rejoined the gay party of the doddering diplomats.
Oh, well, there you are, my boy. Did you manage to come out with a Picasso under your coat?
It wouldn't quite fit, my dear.
We'd all give our eye teeth of some of Melissa's paintings. She has some real beauties, doesn't she?
Well, let's say she possesses real beauty.
Oh, well put, old boy, well put.
Have a drink, Harry.
No, I really have to be going, Melissa, if you'll excuse me.
The night's young yet, Harry, the night's young.
I expect a busy day tomorrow. Awfully sorry.
If you must go.
Please don't bother seeing me at the door, Melissa. I don't want to take you away from your other guests.
Well, goodbye then.
Adieu. Good night. Bye now. Buenas noches.
You are leaving, Senor Lime?
Yes, I have to be going. I'm sorry.
I will get where you go.
Oh, I just had a little accident. The button off my coat. You wouldn't happen to have a needle and a thread, do you?
A needle?
Agujaillo.
Agujaillo. Si, Senor Lime. Pedro has, right here in the cloakroom.
And a pair of scissors, a sharp knife, or a razor blade, something of that kind. You have one?
Si, understand, razor blade. Have here. See? Needle, thread, razor blade. You want Pedro to sew on?
No, thanks very much. I can manage. I hate to keep troubling you, but suddenly I seem to be very thirsty. Do you think I might have a glass of water?
Si, senor.
Well, thank you. If you could get it while I sew this on.
Of course, senor. I shall be right back.
No. Take your time. Take all the time in the world. This was the one dangerous element in the whole scheme. My being seen now. I waited until the obliging Pedro was out of sight, then I slipped down the corridor. I hoped he wouldn't start a fuss when he found me going. The guests and the servants were all busy, thank heavens. I reached the gallery wing, slipped through the little sitting room into the room containing my Rubens, took the little matchstick out and heard the lock click reassuringly. But just in case someone should come in, I took a position behind a heavy velvet drape. Hours later, I could hear the other guests take their departure. The servants locking windows and doors. Someone rattled the doorknob of the gallery and then went away. I heard Melissa's door open and close. But still I remained motionless. I waited until almost dawn, till the silence was thick and heavy. Stealthily, I approached the priceless painting. I took the razor and slipped the canvas neatly from the frame. I rolled it up and slipped it into the lining of my coat. A few hurried stitches took care of the rip I'd made for it. I held my breath as I tiptoed to the door and opened it gently. Crossed to the French door that led to the balcony. Below was the street and safety. The latch worked easily. I started to turn the handle. Oh, my ankle.
Stop!
Oh, my ankle. No, don't shoot.
So we've got a ladron, eh? It's on the alarm.
Get to your feet. Stand up.
My ankle's killing me, Pedro.
Pedro? You called me by name.
Oh.
Carlos, flash your light in his face. No.
Pedro, Carlos, what in the world is going on?
We have caught for you a burglar, senorita. A burglar. He is Senor Lime.
I call the policia. No, senorita?
Wait just a minute, Carlos. Harry, what is the meaning of this?
Melissa.
What were you doing in my gallery?
Well, I wasn't in the gallery.
What?
I could explain the whole thing very easily if we were alone.
Not leave you alone with him, senorita.
You don't think I'd try to harm you?
No, Harry, I don't. It's all right, Pedro. Carlos, wait outside.
We have our guns ready. You call if you need us, huh? And no funny business, Senor Lime.
Well, Harry?
I did a silly thing. I guess you wouldn't talk to me earlier, and I had so much to tell you. Things I couldn't say before your other guests.
Harry.
So I came back to steal something. I came back to steal a few hours alone with you.
Oh,
So I tried to sneak out and, well, you know the rest.
Oh, you're going to make Carlos and Pedro very unhappy. They thought they'd go to Ladrone.
Oh.
September 28th, 1951, The Lives of Harry Lime. Here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion follows these important words from your favorite station. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of The Lives of Harry Lime, work of art from September 28, 1951.
Oh, poor Harry, your ankle hurts you very much.
Well, when you look at me like that, I can't feel any pain.
Oh, you'd better go back to your hotel and rest.
Yes, I guess I'd better. Could I phone for a cab?
Oh, I'll send you home in my car. Pedro can take you.
You're very kind, Melissa. Monday morning came, with it the newspapers. Probably carrying my description. But no, there was no mention of the robbery. For some reason, Melissa Corday had not reported the theft. Maybe the old lime charm had been more effective than I thought. Still, wasn't taking any chances. I made my way most carefully to the galleries of Senor Ferentis. And this time I insisted on seeing him.
You should not have forced your way in, Harry. I told you
I had to see you, and you'll be happy to see me.
What in the world are you doing?
Just removing a little painting I happened to pick up. Look.
The Rubens.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Need the money for it right away, Juan. I have to get out of the country now.
Obviously.
I get 75% this time. Of course, I know you haven't got that much cash hanging around, but I thought you could give me as much as you have now.
I have enough to pay you what this is worth.
Oh, what?
This is not an original Rubens, Harry.
But you were the one who told me.
I had never seen it when we discussed the matter. It's a good copy, a very good copy, worth $100 perhaps.
No. So that's what she meant. It's almost worthless. I was worried about her morale. What's her game, Juan?
Oh, I suppose a very old one, insuring a fake, permitting someone to steal it and giving him ample time to make a getaway, and then suddenly discovering the loss and reporting it to the insurance company.
So now the insurance detectives will be after me, and for a $100 copy.
Oh, those insurance investigators are always the most relentless.
And she's in the clear. If I'm caught, she didn't dream it was a copy. If I make a getaway, she's rich. It was all window dressing. Those servants, the house, everything.
You better leave, Harry.
Pedro, he'd make a lovely witness. He even gave me the razor blade I used.
I have a friend. He owns a small freighter, and it sails in a few hours. I'll call him. The Natalie 3rd. It's moored in the Puerto Nuevo.
I'll find it. I'm awfully sorry, old man. I'm a little short of cash.
Here, $100 for the Rubens copy, though I don't know what I can do with it. The skipper of the freighter is a friend of mine. He will not charge you more than $100.
Okay, well, goodbye, old man. I suppose I just encountered one of the hazards of the profession. Thanks for the 100.
You're welcome.
He's gone.
Yes, Senorita Corday, you can come out now.
I don't know how I can ever thank you. You were my only chance. I had to come to you, Senor Fernandez.
It was a great pleasure to save your masterpiece.
Oh, that wasn't all you saved. No. If I'd called the police last night, there would have been no way of explaining the presence of an attractive man in my home at that hour. Mm-hmm. One who'd been present all evening.
It would have been compromising.
I never could have obtained my divorce. My only reason for being in Buenos Aires would have been shattered. My months of being rude to every man who looked at me, lest my husband's agents could misinterpret my friendships.
You know, I'm beginning to think I was never cut out for this business. We Spaniards are too sentimental, eh? Like Harry Lime, I might have made a fortune out of this painting.
Imagine getting it back for $100.
But with no profit to me. All I accomplished was the saving of a woman's reputation. A perishable commodity at best.
And now, Harry Lime.
course, I hadn't witnessed that last scene. I reconstructed it later from a few newspaper clippings. One reported the final divorce of Melissa Corday, former wife of a Nazi munitions manufacturer. Another reported her marriage to Senor Juan Ferrandez, well-known Argentinian art dealer. And a third, which must have been released to the press in anticipation of my reading it somewhere, told how a priceless work of art had been recovered for a $100 reward. It had been a work of art, all right.
Oh, dear. September 28, 1951, The Lives of Harry Lime on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now time for the wind-up, part 5 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Meg's Palace Matter. This originally broadcast September 28, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
This is Chief Walters, Barnesboro Police. You call me?
Oh, yeah, Chief.
I understand you're out at Sally Button's place on the edge of town. What can I do for you?
Better get out here, Chief, fast.
Oh?
Yeah, to pick up a body.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, location Cod Harbor, Massachusetts, to the Intercoastal Maritime and Life Insurance Company, Boston. Assignment, The Meg's Palace Matter. Report and expense account continued. Whoever shot young Charlie Buttons there at his sister's home in Barnesboro had disappeared down the gravel road in a cloud of dust. Hence the call to the police. Chief Walters was in his late 30s and definitely on the ball. He made a quick call to the coroner, and then in his car we took off for Cod Harbor.
We pretty much left him alone over there in Cod Harbor, Mr. Dollar, and so far they've always managed to keep the peace. This time...
Yeah. Now listen, Chief, and I'll give it to you fast.
Yes, do that.
Meg McCarthy got some threats to burn her place down, notified the insurance company. They sent me out.
Understandable.
First night there, I spotted a prowler around the cafe, but before I could get to him, somebody slugged me from behind.
You didn't know who?
Not then, but the prowler turned out to be Tim Beasley, your deputy over there, I guess you'd call him.
Sort of, self-appointed. Lazy lout. But didn't he know who slugged you?
He said not.
Was Meg herself there? She has a powerful right, Dollar.
Yeah, I thought of that, too, but let me go on now. The next morning, I went out on the Lily Ann, got tossed overboard. And believe me, Chief, the propeller on one of those boats isn't much fun to tangle with.
Yes, Dr. Champion told me he'd had to go over to fix you up.
Yeah. Anyhow, I was sure that whoever was after me was a member of that crew. Had to be.
I see.
When I came to back at Meg's, I had visitors. The crew, loaded with sympathy. The crew, that is, except for Charlie Buttons.
And that's why you traced him to his sister's house?
Uh-huh. And, Chief, he confessed.
Then I don't understand.
But he said he was forced to do those things by somebody who knew of his criminal record and was holding it over his head.
Criminal record? Charlie Buttons?
Yeah, it seems he killed a man once when he was just a kid. The point is, this other person threatened to expose Charlie unless Charlie did his bidding. So Charlie, not being very bright, didn't think he had a chance.
You find out who this other person is?
No. That's when somebody shoved a gun through the window and back of me, shot him, then took off in the proverbial cloud of dust.
How are you doing on suspects?
Oh, brother, too many. Meg, of course, named her rivals in the cafe business right from the beginning.
Well, I wouldn't count them very good suspects.
Then there's Captain Billy Morgan, her intended husband.
What a pair. And if I know Captain Billy, he was just scrounging a lot of free meals. Say, incidentally, I saw him in Barnesboro just before you called.
Well, Captain Billy is beneficiary of Meg's life policy. And he still owes a lot of dough in the Lily Ann, I understand.
Who else?
Tim Beasley.
What?
Yeah.
Look, Dollar, I know he's a good-for-nothing bum who's taken that job of acting mayor, acting police chief, acting everything else so he can live off the fat of the land over there.
Did you also know that Clem Harris, who runs the other big cafe, is his cousin?
His cousin, huh?
Oh, and Beasley never kept his promise to dig up the threatening notes Meg received and compare them with the handwriting of the others.
Doesn't look good, does it?
What do you think, Chief?
I'm beginning to wonder if Tim Beasley will be there when we get to Cod Harbor.
As it turned out, Tim Beasley was very much in evidence. So was the whole population of Cod Harbor. For as the lights of the little fishing village slowly hove into view, I saw another light down by the waterfront, or rather a big reddish glow. And as we pulled in closer, we could see the long tongues of flame leaping upward that caused it. Yep, Meg's palace was on fire. Chief Walters stepped on it. We took the last few turns on two wheels. Hoses of all sorts and shapes and sizes connected to pumps aboard the nearby fishing boats were throwing powerful streams of water at Meg's palace, at the back where the fire had apparently started. But the flames continued to spread, even licking along the ground behind the building.
That means arson, Johnny. Oil and gasoline spreading around back there.
No doubt of it, Chief.
Hurry up, bandy-legged buzzards! Keep her spreading back,
Hey, how'd it start, Captain Billy?
Who knows, but grab a hose and get to work. Get some hose off one of them boats. Montgomery, you crazy boy!
Captain Billy Morgan was running the show, and every one of my prize suspects was in there working his head off. All of them taking orders from Captain Billy. And then I realized that Meg McCarthy was nowhere around, and I noticed something else. All the firefighting was directed toward the back of the building. The front, thanks to the wind, was untouched. But that's where Meg McCarthy's room was. Chief Walters!
Hey, Johnny, where are you going?
Come on, Chief, give me a hand.
What?
See that window up there? Well, I'm going to climb up on the front roof of the place.
You'll burn to a crisp up there.
Gotta take that chance, because I think I can blow this whole case wide open. Now, clench your hands so I can step on them and hoist me up.
But even right here, the heat is
Come
too
on,
much.
man, quick, come on.
Okay, Johnny, but I think you're crazy. Here you are.
Now, up.
Here you go.
The heat was almost unbearable up on that roof, but I knew I had to do it. I crawled low along the shingles, hoping the rotten old roof would hold. And a withering blast that felt like fire itself hit me full in the face as I broke the window of Meg's room. And there she lay, stretched out, unconscious on her bed. There was an ugly, livid mark across her forehead where somebody had struck her down and left her there at the mercy of the fire.
Johnny! Valerie, all right?
The searing heat seemed to press in on me, engulf me. And the open window gave a draft to the flames that were already licking at the sides of the open door. Somehow I managed to wrap a blanket around Meg, covering her face, and stagger to the window, blindly groping for it.
Johnny! This way, the window! Keep that hose on us here! All right, Johnny. You're all right now, I got you. It's all right, boy. All right.
It's all right, Johnny boy. Aside of having your hair singed and losing a suit of clothes, you're all okay.
Well, thank goodness you are, Meg. But tell me...
Oh, now take it easy. You got a bad burn on that left arm and you got to lie still.
Yeah,
And would
Meg.
you believe it was Clem Harris, the one I always thought was such a no-good blatherskite that gave us each a place to stay here at his house.
I wondered where I was when I came to a few minutes ago.
I guess I misjudged the man.
But how about you, Meg?
Oh, bless you, darling. You saved me life, and I'll never forget it. May the good Lord strike me down. If it hadn't have been for you... Oh, think of it, Johnny boy. I'd be laying still in that pile of ashes out there that was once me nice cafe. I love you, Johnny boy, and I'm humble and I'm grateful.
Meg, that mark on your head.
Ha! The dirty, blathering spalpeen who snuck up in my room and knocked me down and left me there. I'll murderize him when I find him, that dirty conniving.
You don't know who it was?
How could I when he snuck up from behind me? Oh, Chief Walters, come in, sir, come in.
Well, I must say, you two look pretty good, considering. Ready for a visitor, Johnny?
Yeah, hi, Chief. Bring him in.
Oh, now, Johnny, are you sure you want visitors until you're feeling better?
Bring him in, boys. Right in here.
Stop your pushing.
Come on, get
Why, Billy boy. What's the matter with you, Willie? That look on your face. Oh, and you, Chief Walters. What was the idea of locking up my Willie boy like some dirty scoundrel of a crook when he tried so hard to save my cafe from that awful fire? Who do you think you are?
All right, Meg, simmer down.
Don't
simmer
you talk
down.
to me like that, you young
Meg.
whisker snap. Yes, darling.
Well, I won't simmer down. What was the big idea arresting me that way? Who do you think you are around here? And I'm talking to you, Dollar.
You went too far, Captain Billy.
I went too far. You're off your course. What are you talking about?
Yes, Johnny boy, if you was responsible...
Quiet, Meg.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking about arson, Captain Billy. And murder. And the motives behind them.
What?
Motives. They were all over the place by half a dozen people. But yours was the strongest. By far.
You're off your head.
The $25,000 insurance on Meg's life. That was the
Why,
big
you...
one.
Let me at him.
No, just a minute. You take your hands off
Take it easy,
of him.
Meg, or I'll have to order you out.
But listen, what he's saying is that Captain Billy was...
Quiet!
Yeah, let me finish this, will you, Meg? Played lover boy to her, didn't you, Captain Billy? To make sure you'd be her beneficiary.
You're crazy. You're dirty.
It looked like you right from the first, but I couldn't be sure until I compared the writing on the threatening letters with some of your handwriting I found.
Oh, no.
So that's the way you found out, you dirty underhanded.
Yeah, Captain, that's right. Threatening letters. To make it look like somebody else was out to get her. Her competitors, for instance. And to leave the way clear for you.
Willie boy.
No, I didn't. I mean, I didn't mean to.
Oh, no, Willie. Tell me it ain't true.
Don't touch me.
Oh.
Why, Billy? Why'd you do it?
I had to. I had to have the money or I'd lose my...
What? You mean your boat was more to you?
Go on, Billy, and quiet, Meg.
Fishing. Fishing was my whole life. I had to save my boat. I had to get the money for it. How else could I ever...
Rotten
No.
filthy
No,
bastard.
you
I tell you what. Let me at that boat. I tell you, I'll murder that bastard face. I don't know, Johnny boy. Maybe I'll move to someplace else and open up. I wouldn't have the heart to here. Cod Harbor it'd be too. It was here that I met him and I believed him and... Well, I guess this old heart of mine wasn't as tough as I thought it was.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Meg.
I'll get over it. Sure I will. I'm Meg McCarthy, Johnny Dollar. No blathered idiot of a man is going to keep Meg McCarthy down.
That's the...
You hear me? No man on this whole earth is worth it. They're all of them just a bunch of no good, too tight. Oh, no. No, Johnny boy, not you. If only there was more of the likes of you in the world. I love you, Johnny boy. And if I were a bit younger and maybe pretty... Johnny.
Yeah?
Now tell me, where did you ever get the threat letters you compared the writing of? I'd have swore that I destroyed them, every one.
Know something, Meg? I didn't.
Huh?
I never saw them. Never saw a sample of Captain Billy Morgan's writing either.
You mean you... Oh, no. Huh?
Well, it worked, didn't it?
Aye. And it serves that conniving, murder and blather, scoiting...
There now, Meg.
Oh, Johnny. I'm afraid I really did love him.
Yeah, it had been a long shot, and thank goodness it had paid off. The courts will take care of Captain Billy. The insurance on her place, of course, will have to be paid to Meg McCarthy. But no life insurance, thank heaven. Oh, poor Meg. It'll be a long, long time before she'll fall for sweet talk again. Expense account totaled, including fare and incidentals, back to Hartford, $221.60. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Now, here's our star to tell you about next week's story.
Next week, well, they say that diamonds are a girl's best friend. But I wonder when they're a motive for murder. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone, who also wrote this week's story. Heard in our cast were Virginia Gregg, Jack Crucian, Byron Kane, Forrest Lewis, Bert Holland, Stan Jones, Bob Bruce, Austin Green, and Harry Bartell. Musical supervision by Amerigo Marino and Carl Fortina. Be sure to join us on Monday night, same time and station, for another exciting story of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
Virginia Gregg, such a versatile player. She could do all sorts of different roles, and this one in Meg was just great. September 28th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Would you thank this station, support their advertisers? It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. Now, if you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available on demand by going to classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream, where you stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me. You can find our social media links. And if you like to support this show, you can buy me a copy so we can acquire additional classic radio collections to bring to you here on your favorite station. Tell all your friends great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.